What's up everybody, what's good? Let's talk about some cultural appropriation. If this is your first time here, my name is EK and this is What's Good English, a channel where I specialize in colloquial English and I talk about things like slang, African American vernacular, and other curiosities of English to help you understand how English is really spoken. Now, I wasn't kidding with the cultural appropriation thing. We are going to talk about that. I actually had a different video planned out for today and I apologize for not having that here for you guys to see, but a few days ago I saw this video from two of my favorite YouTube creators of sketch comedy, Julie Noki and Stephen He.
Oh, don't worry, the money's in the car. Alright, lit. Yo, keep this on the DL, okay? This be dripping so hard the police trying to pull up, you know what I'm saying?
Say, you capping.
You capping.
Fast forward to today when I was at a get-together with some friends and the wife of one of my friends mentioned that she'd been learning some new slang from the Gen Z college kids that she goes to school with. And everything that she mentioned that is attributed to Gen Z, just like in the video that I showed you, is not actually Gen Z slang. They didn't come up with it. It's actually African American vernacular. The fact is, most all of the slang that people say is Gen Z slang or internet speech is actually African American vernacular or stuff that the African American community has been saying for decades. Now, I want to be clear that I don't blame Gen Z. The fact is that generation grew up with black culture in the mainstream. They had #1 songs that were from black artists. They had black movie stars and television stars to look at and learn from, and they picked up some of the lingo, and naturally they want to imitate what they see and what they hear. When I was a kid, we had to literally seek out anything that was black culture. We had to listen to black radio stations if we wanted to hear more music from black artists, like rap music or R&B. You had to be somebody like Michael Jackson or Luther Vandross or Prince or something like that to truly transcend and get picked up by the mainstream. Occasionally, yes, a rap song would become wildly popular and it would end up making it into the mainstream, but for the most part, black culture was only popular within niche markets. The reason I make this point is, as a people, we are still judged by the way we use the English language. Even though it's a different dialect of English, people hear the way we sound, even if it's in an informal setting, and there's a bit of judgment there, thinking that we don't have proper command over the English language when we do. To be multi-dialectal is to have more words. We can actually articulate ourselves a lot better than some people who only speak one dialect of the language. What's happening is these non-black Gen Z kids who are imitating some of the slang and some of the African American vernacular that they hear in their songs or some of their favorite TV shows or from interviews of some of their favorite black artists, what have you, are not being judged the same. In fact, they are even being credited with coming up with this slang as the originators, and people are saying, oh, well, that's just what the kids are saying.
While I was out here chopping it up with you, your bestie took a turn for the worst.
Bro! You capping!
Unfortunately, no cap. She's literally dead. Right now.
So, she's laughing?
Now, some of you might be thinking, well, it's just slang. Slang is just slang. Why is it important? Well, #1, African American vernacular, again, is not just a collection of slang and bad English, but 2, it is quite important to know where something came from. In 1981, there was a woman by the name of Renee Rogers who wore her hair in a style called cornrows, a style that black people have been putting in their hair for centuries, for millennia actually, dating all the way back to ancient Africa and traveled with us when we were brought over here in the 1600s. She wore her hair in cornrow braids and she was discriminated against by the company American Airlines. She later sued this company, and a judge threw out her lawsuit claiming that this style of hair was not African in origin and not a part of black culture, and that she had been inspired by a woman named Bo Derek, a white woman who wore her hair in the same style 2 years ago in a movie called Up from 1979. So it is indeed important to know the origin, the background, and the history and the originators of something. Fast forward to today, and the style of cornrow braids is also known by the term boxer braids, which is not a name that we gave it, but is something that someone coined after seeing several UFC women fighters wearing braids in their hair in the same style. You cannot imagine the sting when you, the originator of something or a member of the culture that originated originated something has what you've been doing for seemingly ever co-opted or imitated by another group of people who are known as the mainstream or the default, and watch them receive all the credit for it. Meanwhile, you are still discriminated against for doing the exact same thing that they are doing, the exact same thing that you had been doing forever. It's a crazy double standard, and it's insane that it still happens, but it does. Now, I don't know exactly where I'm going with this one. I think I'm actually just going to cut it here before I get too much into the weeds. I do want to say that my African American Vernacular series is about celebrating this wonderful, beautiful dialect of English that we created out of necessity, and to show that it is not just slang and bad grammar, that there's a systematicity to it, and it is beautiful and gorgeous and deserves to be understood. I know you might not have learned a new word or phrase or how to use a few new words or phrases in this video, but I hope you did learn the importance of knowing the originator of something and why it is important to know the originator of something. I'll be back again next week with another episode. I hope you did at least enjoy this one, and I will catch y'all later. Ciao.